Hi everybody, Dan Illman here with some exciting news. DRF Formulator, the gold standard in past performance information, is now free exclusively on DRF Bets. Join DRF Bets with the promo code WINNING. Get a $250 first deposit match bonus, a $10 free bet, and free Formulator already uploaded to your account. Access Formulator's premium features, including sortable trainer stats, race replays, personalized trip notes, and lots more. Free Formulator exclusively on DRF Bets. Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer. We're kicking off a 50-cent pick 5 at Keeneland on Bluegrass Saturday with graded stakes action. The Grade 3 Commonwealth at 7/8 of a mile features some strong sprinters, one very fast horse. Let's take a look at the field. You're going to see what I mean just by the morning line. Nashville is even money on the line, and this horse had a lot of buzz around him last year when he won his first 3 starts. Actually, that was back in 2020, a very abbreviated campaign in 2021. He got the big win last time out on an easy lead, Mike. And the key to this race is A, will he get a similarly easy lead? B, can he get the 7?
Yeah, those are very valid questions. This is obviously a pretty steep step up in class for Nashville. Listen, he's got 3 triple-digit buyers. I guess for some people that might be enough. I kept looking at this horse, Dan, going, imagine taking even money or maybe even less on this horse in this race. I would never do it.
Timeform US throws up the pace projector, and they say, don't worry about an easy lead, Mike. It's going to happen. Nashville's going right to the front. It's a blue bar situation. It favors horses on or near the early lead. Now it's all about whether he can get the 7. Yes, he looks like the main speed in this race, Mike. And again, he does have the triple-digit buyers, but I'm kind of with you. I don't want a short price on a horse like this.
Yeah, he's supposed to make the early lead in here. I'm assuming if he breaks the gate well, he will be on the lead. The question is, how fast will he have to go? It's a blue bar situation, which doesn't necessarily mean they're going to go slow, Dan. It just means that the horses up close will have the advantage. And maybe it is an advantage for Nashville. I won't be surprised to see this race falling apart late, though.
The number 1, Manny Wah, is a very honest horse. I'm a big fan. 18 of 27 lifetime in the top 3, seems to fire more often than not. Maybe these kind of races are a little bit tough for him. However, his last start at the fairgrounds, he got wired by a horse named Long Weekend. That horse came back and got dusted by Nashville when he earned a 92 buyer. An honest horse could certainly see him in the number somewhere.
Yeah, I'm going to use him. I agree with all that stuff. He's a very honest horse, and I feel like he could get the right trip in this race. So at some kind of big price, I'm just going to use him. I'll also just point out that he really likes Keeneland. He's only run here 3 times. He's run really well in all 3 of those starts, including the Breeders' Cup Sprint in 2020, where he was beaten less than 5 lengths.
Long Range Toddy, the number 2, is 20-1 on the morning line. He was pretty good early in his career. He won the Springboard Mile at 2. He won the Rebel at 3. But despite those successes in 2-turn races, I think Dallas Stewart, I know I am, still trying to figure out exactly what's the best distance for Long Range Toddy. And I do think 7 furlongs hits him right between the eyes. He ran well 3 starts back when being beaten by Sir Alfred James. It's just like he's a bit of an in and outer.
He is. I do think this is a really good distance for him, and he's another one who could land in the right trip here, especially if this race starts falling apart. The problem is, Dan, as consistent as he remains in his career, it's been over 3 years since he's won a race.
Lynn Cash has done a great job with the 3. Sir Alfred James claimed this horse from Al Stall for $62,500 back in the late summer of 2021, has turned him into a stakes winner on synthetic. And this horse used to be a little bit of a speed demon. He's learned to ration his speed in recent starts. Let's watch the recent allowance race at Parks going 2 quarters around. Now he's supposed to win this race. He's 2-5. John McKee's got him down towards the inside here, and John knows what he's got. He's got plenty of horse. So when this horse on the lead starts to drift a little bit, he's able to get Sir Alfred James to the outside. Despite losing a little bit of momentum, this veteran gets it done.
Yeah, I mean, they probably made it a little harder than it had to be for this horse to win at 2-5. They gave the chalk eaters a little bit of an anxious moment there, but he did get the job done. I'm not that big a fan of this horse. He's won a couple of fast races, Dan. So if you feel like he's in a spot here where he's just going to show up with one of his really good races, you can bet him at some kind of a good price. I was looking elsewhere.
3 Technique, the number 4, is a gigantic price on the tote. He has a few back races that make him mildly interesting. He was graded stakes placed in the summer of 2021 for Jeremiah Engelhart. These connections claimed him for 40, and you just get the feeling they claimed him and thought maybe we're going to make him a synthetic horse. And they ran him 3 times on synthetic. And A, he probably isn't a synthetic horse. And B, he just happened to catch the best synthetic horse maybe in the country, Visitant, who's something like 9 for 11 on Poly.
Yeah, I guess it wasn't a terrible idea to try that. It's worth noting that his prior connections also tried to make him a turf horse there very briefly as a 3-year-old, and that didn't work out either. I don't know what to say about him anymore, Dan. There was a time where I was sure that 3 Technique was going to turn out to be a really, really good horse, and it didn't happen.
That being said, he didn't break last time out. 2 back, he only got beat 2 lengths by Visitant. Visitant recently ran second in the Kentucky Cup Classic with a 92 buyer. Horse of the hour is the 5 Nashville. Again, he started his career in 2020. He was the bee's knees. He won his first 3 starts. He was going to be a superstar. Charlatan handled him pretty easily in the Malibu. He went away for almost a year. It took him a while to get back to winning form. And his last race, just on paper, looked sensational. And I guess in a way it was. He ran a 102 buyer speed figure. He beat a good field, but boy, he got as loose as you can get.
Yeah, I mean, when you go back and watch the replay of that race, Dan, I mean, it doesn't get any easier than that. I mean, he had 3 right out of the gate in there, and he was just breezing along on the lead with nobody going after him. It doesn't mean that he's not going to come back and run another good race here. I have a really hard time buying into this horse right now. To me, as good as he's looked in some of his races, he has an awful lot to prove in races like this. And the 7 furlongs, I think, is an added thing that you have to worry about with him. To me, it was an easy call to bet against this horse.
Surveillance began his career looking like he was going nowhere fast. 9 race maiden, but hey, he's won 3 in a row. He's gone through his 2 other than conditions. He's won on dirt. He's won on turf. He just looks like a late running sprinter. In that last race, what a ton of pace. He was able to get up late with an 88 buyer. He's hoping for a pace meltdown in here, and he's got to run a little faster, but he's sharp. Keith Desormeaux's done a nice job.
I agree. I feel like they've maybe finally started to figure this horse out, Dan. Earlier on in his career, when he wasn't winning, they were trying to use his speed in all of those races. And he just couldn't hold on at the end. They've started taking him back a little bit more in his races now, and he's better off for it. His last 3 races are all good.
I think Bill Mott might be lurking under the radar with the 7 South Bend. We often talk about in these stakes previews how we like horses cutting back in distance to 7 furlongs. You got to use your lifetime formulator PPs to find South Bend's last sprint race, October 5th, 2019 at Keeneland. He won coming from off the pace. He got a fast pace that day. In his last race, the Harlan's Holiday, he caught the Gulfstream loving Fearless, who's come back to running 3 graded stakes, 1 win, 2 seconds, buyers between 96 and 100. Let's watch South Bend's Harlan's Holiday. Just going to beat Fearless, who got the jump on him this day. South Bend's going to get up for second.
He runs fine in here. He's no threat to the winner. He is second best at the end. This is, South Bend, though, Dan. He shows up and he runs just about every single time. I don't mind him cutting back in this race. As you mentioned, he's only sprinted twice in his career. The first 2 starts of his career back in 2019, and he won both of them with big late rallies. So he'll try it again in here.
I also don't think Gulfstream's really the kind of track that plays to his style very well. I think a track like Keeneland will help him out more. And I could say the same for Endorsed, who's similarly sort of a 1-run, 7 furlong to a mile type. And he kind of outran his odds in the Pegasus World Cup at 90-1. He got a piece of that. And then in the Gulfstream Mile last time out, he just faced a better horse. I mean, Speaker's Corner is better than he is. He ran fine. And of course, Fearless came back to win with a 98 buyer speed figure. This is a horse where if you give him some pace, he'll run. He may not be the most trustworthy sort. You got to go back to May of 2020 for his last win.
Yeah, I'm just tired of this horse. He's another one that I was pretty high on early. I thought there was a chance he could turn out to be really good. And for whatever reason, it just hasn't really happened for him. I do like him going 7 furlongs, Dan. I'm just tired of this horse. I'm done betting on him.
Mr. Luke is going to take a shot with the number 9, Ataka. Now, he's tried stakes races before with this horse, the best coming a 3rd place effort at a huge price in the ACAC last year, where he made the lead. He's not making the lead here. He has run well from off the pace in the past. I just think he's a notch below.
I do too. I mean, I liked his races 2 and 3 back when they finally cut him back to sprint in. I thought he ran really well in both of those starts. And so I took a little shot and bet him in the grade 3 Whitmore last time, just hoping that he would, run another good race. And you know what? He actually did run another good race. They sat at the back with him. They made a big wide run around the turn, and he wasn't good enough to go with those horses. So I'm not going to bet him back in here. He's going to be another big price, though.
The number 10 Prevalence won his first 2 starts as a 3-year-old to kick off his career and was fast-tracked on the road to the Kentucky Derby. And maybe it was too much too soon. They ran him in the wood. He was 3-1 against Bourbonic. He was close to a pace that fell apart and he tired. He didn't run well in the Pat Day Mile. I like that they put him on the shelf. They brought him back slow. Let's watch his last race at Gulfstream. It's a 1-turn mile. He got right up close to the pace. I like that he showed improved tactical speed in his second start off the layoff, and he put away a much weaker field. This horse has always had potential. He has enough tactical speed where he can stay within range of Nashville, maybe without burning himself out, and 7's not going to be a problem.
Yeah, I agree with all that stuff, Dan. I thought he ran well in this race. I don't know if I love that race overall, but I thought he ran well in there. He had a little bit of an excuse off the layoff when he sort of bobbled at the start, and then he was just sort of racing on late in there. It felt like a kind of a useful run off of a long layoff. The only real problem that I have with him in here is that he's 5-1 on the morning line. And I just feel like that's just not a great price on a horse who really still does have a lot to prove.
And he's been a reputation horse his whole career. So I wouldn't be surprised if he does take money in this spot into the teeth of Nashville, and that's not maybe great value. Obesos is 5-1, but I wouldn't be surprised if he drips a little bit. He was 9-1 in the mine shaft last time out, and I thought he ran a sneaky good race. He didn't break very well. There wasn't a lot of pace. He caught a very nice horse in Olympiad who came back to win with a 103 buyer, and he showed a little bit of late interest. And if you think he can't sprint, look at the first couple of races of his career where he won his last 2 sprints. We love turnbacks in 7 furlong races, Mike. All he needs is for maybe somebody to soften up Nashville and go fast.
Yeah, that's how I looked at him too. And you mentioned he's 5-1 also, just like Prevalence is. I think the difference between the two of them is, Dan, that Obesos has shown that he can hold his own with some really good horses. They've tried this horse in some tough spots, and he's run pretty well in some of them, including the mine shaft most recently. I like this horse cutting back. I think he's going to sit and make one run.
Top pick time, wide open race if you're against the favorite. We're going to try to take a little swing against Nashville. Respect his speed. It's going to be, if he's odds on, though, I'm going to try to beat him trying to go 7. I think Prevalence can stay within range. I'm hoping maybe he can live up to his potential. I'm definitely using Mike's top selection, the 11 Obesos. I think he's going to be running hard in a stretch.
Me too. I'm just going to hope that he sits back and gets a clean run into this thing. I'm against Nashville in here, Dan. I'm going to bet Obesos. I'm going to also use a lot of the one Manula.
10, 5, 11, and 3 for me. 11, 1, 5, 7 for Mike. Let's kick off that 50-cent pick 5 on Bluegrass Saturday with the Commonwealth. Good luck.